Hello and welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we're taking a look at the Tiny Gift Box Owl and Penguin add-on. This new die coordinates with the original Tiny Gift Box to make some really cute critters. So here's a look at all of the pieces that the die creates. We have the face, the feet, we have a piece that layers over the face, and of course the little ears for the owl. We have some pieces that will layer behind the eyes and the nose to fill them in, some other eye pieces, a little belly, some cute little cheeks, the tail, of course, an extra beak, a little star to hold, and then, of course, we have the piece that cuts the wings. So let's put these together and see how to create these. First, we're going to start out with an owl box. So we need to cut our tiny gift box, which we've done here from some brown cardstock, and we're just folding along all those score lines to create our box. We're just reinforcing those folds with the bone folder so we have some nice sharp edges to our box. Then we're going to fold in these little tabs. These are going to go inside the box, and that's also where we're going to put some adhesive. So we'll put some adhesive on these 4 little tabs here, and we're just using our double-sided 1/4-inch tape, and we can pull off that liner paper from all 4 of these little tabs. And then we'll just fold these up and attach them to the inside of the box. So we're doing the back side first, then we're going to fold up this front piece and attach those there. And then those 2 other little flaps, they'll fold into the box and hold the box closed just like this. Now we can start to create our little owl. So we have 2 different eye pieces. This one has the eye cut out of it, and then there is a solid piece that you can layer behind it to fill in the eye. Also, that other black piece will also fill in the eyes, and we'll show you that here in just a moment. So there are a couple options. Then we can layer these right onto that extra little piece of the face, which we've cut from some kraft cardstock for 2 different shades of brown for this little owl. So now we have those cream colored eyes on that little muzzle part of the owl, and we can layer this onto the main part of the face. You can see that this will layer over those cuts that are already in the face of the eyes and the nose. There's also a little piece here for the owl to give him some little feathery ears. So we'll just add a little bit of adhesive to that curved part, and it's going to fit right behind the top curved part of the face. They will line up exactly, and you'll get those cute little feathery ears sticking out the top. Now these 2 rectangular solid pieces, they fit together like a puzzle like this, and they will go behind the eyes and the beak. Now if we had not already covered up the eyes with those solid circles, this would fill them in nicely. So you can do either way, which you're going to see me do on a card here at the end of the video. There's also an extra little beak that you can layer over top. Now you can see the orange through that opening, but if you wanted the beak up front or you wanted him to hold something in his beak, we do have that as an option. There's also the cute little feet, and there is a score line on these, and we're just going to fold on that score line and add a little bit of adhesive on that top part. This can layer right behind this front face piece, and when the box is assembled, those little feet will stick straight out and be flat on the tabletop. There's also one more piece for this front face, which is that cute little belly. And now we're ready to add this to our tiny gift box. Our little owl face is complete. So we're just going to put some adhesive on the front of the box and layer him right onto the front of the box. And you can see those little feet stick out, which is super cute. Now we have the wings, and there is a score line on the wings as well, so that these can wrap around from the side of the box to the front, and our little owl can hold things. So we're going to fold right on that score line, and you can see how one is for the left and one is for the right. And we'll just add some adhesive and glue this right to the side of the box, and then on that fold, that wing will wrap around to the front. And you could glue these down, or you could put something in his hands, or you could just leave them kind of sticking out, which is fun too. And then of course we have the little tail. And there is our cute little owl. Let's grab that little star and see what it looks like to put it in his hand. Now we're doing a penguin gift box. So all the same steps that we did with the owl to create the gift box, we folded on all the score lines. Now we're putting adhesive on those little tabs, and we'll pull off that liner paper and assemble our tiny gift box cut from some black cardstock. The penguin has a few less pieces, but he is just as cute. So once we folded up these sides and attached it where that adhesive is, we can just fold the top of the box closed. Now let's move on to our little penguin's face. So we have the main part of the face cut from black cardstock. Then we're layering this little detail piece over top cut from white, and you can see that the eyes and the beak line up perfectly. For this one, we're not going to be using those rectangles. We're going to use some other pieces to fill in the eyes and the beak. Now we're adding that cute little white belly. Next, we're going to grab those cute little feet that we cut from orange cardstock. Again, these have that little score line, so we're going to fold on that score line. This will make those feet stick straight out and be flat on the tabletop when our box is assembled. We'll just add a little dot of liquid glue above that fold line and layer this on the back side of the body that we're assembling. And you can see they're going to stick straight out and go right on the front of our box. So let's go ahead and attach this to the box. In this case, our box is black, so we don't need to add that black rectangle to fill in the eyes. The box will take care of that. And this way we can use that extra little beak and just drop it right in there. We don't even need to use that rectangle. So you have some options on how to fill in the eyes and the beak for these cute little owls and penguins. Now the wings, just as before, we're going to fold on that score line so that we can attach those wings on the side of the box, and then they can wrap around and hold something in the front. So we'll just add adhesive on that larger part of the wing. This is going to go on the side of the box. We'll line up the fold with the corner of the box so that that wing wraps around towards the front. And then, of course, we don't want to forget that cute little tail. So that little tail, just like the owl, it's going to fit in the notch on the back of the box, and it's attaching to the top of the box that opens. For this little guy, we're going to add that cute little star that's part of this die set, just giving him something to hold. There are lots of options of things that you could put in their hands, which I think is really fun. And then, of course, there's those little pink cheeks. Now, we're not going to add them to our penguin today, but we're going to show you what it looks like if you do. You can also add them to the owl as well, and this is what that would look like too. Some cute little pink cheeks. So here's another look at that assembled tiny gift box penguin holding that cute little star and that tiny gift box owl, which I just think is so cute. I think these would be fun to do in different colors as well, and will make cute little treats for any kind of occasion. So now let's make a card using the tiny gift box owl add-on. So for my card, I wanted to make a waving pull tab card. So I'm using the special delivery with those little wings that go with the waving pull tab and the waving pull tab starter set. What I'm going to do is start by cutting the little notch at the top and the slots for the wings. And then I'm going to do a lot of ink blending. So this is a piece of Bristol cardstock cut to 4¼ by 5½. So it's the size of an A2 size card. I'm lining up the notch that goes at the top. You line up that bar with the top of the paper, and then that little notch will get cut into the top where our little pull tab will go. Then we can take the little template that comes with the waving pull tab starter set, and we're going to line that up with the notch, and this will show us exactly where to put that little square piece that comes with special delivery and cut those little slots for our wings. So using that template is going to cut these little slots in the perfect spot. And the reason why I'm cutting this first is because I want to know exactly where my little wings are going to go. So now that those slots are there, I know exactly where my owl will go, and I can put this moon mask over it. So this is the circle mask from the Nighttime Sky stencil set, and this is where my moon is going to go so that the owl is in front of the moon. So I'm just holding in place with a little bit of washi tape, and then I am going to ink blend the sky first. So I'm starting out with Speckled Egg Distress Oxide ink, And I'm going to go all the way around the circle. It's going to be kind of messy at the beginning, but as I work with this ink blending, it will start to smooth out. I just want a little bit of a lighter color to start with right around the moon so that I can get the kind of glowing look that I want. Next, I have salvaged patina, which is a much brighter blue, but don't worry, I am going to darken this up a bit. But I'm kind of going all over with the salvaged patina and stopping short of the edge of that mask. So I have a little bit of that speckled egg still showing right close to the circle. Once I get a good layer of the salvage patina on there, I am moving on to a much darker color, which is Uncharted Mariner. I really like this color for some dark night skies. And I'm just pulling that in from the outside edges, again, stopping short of the moon so I have that nice glowy look. And then I'll go back and grab that salvage patina blending sponge and kind of blend between the two to kind of take away that harsh edge. Once I have this looking the way I like, it's time to add some stars. So I have my metallic watercolor. I'm just going to add some splatters, and I'm doing this with the mask still on it so that I don't get any of these splatters on my moon. I'm also adding some small ones by flicking it off the block, so I have some big dots and small dots. Then I can remove my mask and set this aside to let that watercolor dry. I really want to make sure that's dry before I move on to my next step. So now I'm taking the nighttime sky stencil and lining up that big circle right where I had the mask. And I'll just tape this down and hold this in place. And then I'm going to ink up my moon, and I'm using that Post-it note tape to kind of cover up those holes that are close so I don't accidentally get any ink in spaces I don't want. I'm using some scattered straw distress oxide. I'm trying to be heavy-handed on the right side and along the bottom. Then I have some dried marigold distress oxide, and I am going to take this and kind of add a little more shadow again on the bottom and the right side. So I'm just pulling this up from the right and the bottom side of the circle. I'm not going to take this color all the way to the other side. Then I'm going to remove my stencil and shift it over to one of those openings that have kind of the moon craters. I'll line that up inside my moon circle, and then I'm pulling out another distress oxide. I will use wild honey for this one to color in those craters, and they're a little bit darker and some more orangey color. I'm going to be really careful to not go off the edge of my stencil, but you can always use a Post-it note to protect that edge. So I'm going to go back in with my really small blending tool that I was using for scattered straw. It still has that scattered straw in there. And I'm just kind of smudging up that harsh line between the moon and the sky to make it look a little less perfect. And then lastly, I'm going to pull out my fairy dust stencil paste and add some glittery clouds. So I'm just lining up my clouds here. This is a new jar of fairy dust stencil paste, and I'm just going to put a light layer through these clouds so I get these kind of sparkly clouds overlapping all of that inking that I did on the background. Being very careful to not go off the edge of my stencil, I'm going to pull this up and then very carefully add a third cloud towards the top. You might want to wait for this to dry before you do this. I'm just going to do it real quick and kind of hold it in place and try not to smudge the paste that I did at the bottom. So I'm going to go and clean off my stencil immediately. I don't want that paste to dry on there because it's really hard to get off if it dries. And then I'll let these clouds dry. I'll just set that aside. So I've already pre-cut all of my pieces for my little owl, and I want to do some ink blending on the body and the wings before I start to assemble. These are cut from some dolphin cardstock, so it's that kind of warm light gray color, and I'm just blending some manatee ink along the bottom of the wings, and I'll also do the same along the bottom of the body. The way I see it, this guy's flying in the moonlight, and that moonlight's probably going to be hitting the top of his head and the top of his wings. So we want it darker along the bottom. Now I did want to add the look of some texture to look like feathers. So what I'll do is pull out some warm gray Copic markers and just flick some marker marks up from the bottom, and I think this really gives it the look of feathers. So I'm using a W3 and then I pulled in a W5 just for a few darker ones so that they don't all look the same and it really looks like it has some depth. And of course we need to do the same to the bottom of our owl. So I'll use those same two markers and the same kind of technique. I will add some to the top of his head as well here in just a minute, you'll see. Now for the eyes and the beak, I'm layering those two rectangular pieces together. They fit together like a puzzle, and then I'm just layering them on the back. So that fills in his eyes and his beak. Then I can layer this kraft piece of cardstock on top for his face. I'm just making sure that there's no adhesive in the little eye openings there. And then I have some paper bag cardstock for the circles that layer over the eyes as well. Now that I have the face layered on there, I can kind of see the shape, and I'll add some little flicks at the top for some feathery texture on the top of his head. I'll add those little feathery ears. These are cut from the kraft cardstock, so they match the face. And then I have the feet. These are cut from some number 2 pencil cardstock, and I'm not folding these on the score line since I'm making a card today. I don't want them to stick out. So that is that cute little owl, but I want him to be festive. So I pulled out the Tiny Gift Box Holiday Hats add-on, and there's this cute witch hat in there. I cut the buckle from number 2 pencil to match the feet. I have a peacock band that's going to go on this black sparkle glitter hat. And just how cute is that? And it is adorable when you add it to this little owl. And I'm going to add it kind of to the right side, which I think is really cute. I'm going to make sure all my glue is cleaned up so I don't have any big blobs there. And I just think that this little owl with that hat is so adorable. So here's what he looks like. Now we're not going to glue those wings on just yet because we need those to be part of our interactive die. So I'm just going to set these pieces aside and we're going to build our interactive die. Now I did pull out the Simply Celebrate Fall and colored and cut out that line of pumpkins. And then with special delivery, I just cut 2 of those wings just from white cardstock. I don't even need to stamp anything. I just need the wings so I can add my owl's wings. With the waving pull tab starter set, I cut out the tab, 2 of the stabilizers, and then the little decorative piece that goes on the top and tells you to pull it. I've also pulled out the pick of the patch stamp set for my sentiment. I have a piece of storm cloud cardstock here. This is going to be the ground. I've already put some anti-static powder on there and I am going to white emboss the sentiment that says you're the pick of the patch with some white embossing powder. So I stamped that in clear embossing ink. I added my white embossing powder and now I'm just heating it up with my heat tool till we get that melted, nice, bright white sentiment. And then I'll just use my hand to kind of wipe away that anti-static powder. I do need to trim this up a little bit, make sure it is the right width to fit on my card, and then figure out how far up I need the ground to go. So I'll just layer my pumpkins here, see where they fall, and make a little mark with my pencil, and that will tell me where to trim this. And now I can just add this to the bottom of my night sky panel that I ink blended earlier. I'm not going to add my pumpkins just yet. I want to go ahead and do all my assembly. So you want to make sure the 2 wings are going in 2 different directions and the X's are on the top. And then you have your pull tab. This is cut from fog cardstock. And then you want to put the brad through the back, through that little hole. You also want to make sure those little tabs are at the top like you see there. Then you want to add one of the wings, making sure the X is at the top, and the other wing, and then we'll just open up the brad. So that will hold these wings in place. Then we can take our panel with the slots. We're going to flip both things over so that we're looking at the back side, and we're going to thread those little wings through the slots. Now we can take that big long tab and push it down to where the top is aligned with the top of our panel. And this is the starting position for our pull tab. So I'm just going to flip it back over, and then we need to add our little stabilizer pieces. And I like to use two with the waving pull tab. One is going to go at the top where those little tabs are that stick out on each side of the long piece. That's kind of going to act as a stopper. And then one is going to go on the bottom. So I folded along the score lines. I'm putting adhesive on that middle part of each of these. And for this one, I'm going to make sure that's lined up with the top and then line up my stabilizer with those little bumpers. Those are my stoppers so that it doesn't get pushed down too far. Then I can add a little bit of adhesive to that little tab, fold it over, and complete the enclosure that holds this in place. Then I'll do the same at the bottom, and this is just going to help this whole long tab stay nice and straight as you pull it and move the things on this card. So again, I have adhesive on that center piece. I just slid it under there, and then I'll add a little bit of adhesive on that tab. And I do want to make sure that I clean off anything that I might have gotten on that piece that moves. So you can see it's moving nice and freely. You can see how those stoppers work at the top. And look at those little wings waving. I will go ahead and add that decorative piece at the top. This is cut from some storm cloud cardstock, and of course has that little triangle telling the recipient to pull the tab to make something really fun happen. Now I added foam tape all over the back. I want to pop this up so that there is some room to grab that little tab. And I just did strips down both sides, avoiding the tab in the middle that needs to move. Now for my pumpkin patch down here, I will pop this up with some foam squares, which is why I did not add it in the beginning. I didn't want to have that height there until I had assembled this whole piece. So I have that fun pumpkin patch popped up off the background, and now I need to add my wings. And I'm going to add these with a little bit of liquid adhesive so they're nice and sturdy and stuck to these little wings from the special delivery set. I'm also adding a foam square right in the middle. That is where my owl's body is going to go, and I want it popped up a little bit from the background so that these wings have space to move nice and freely. So that looks really good. I'm going to pop the body of the owl on there, and then success. I think that this is so cute. I am so excited that this worked out the way it was in my head. I just think it is so adorable that we can make this tiny gift box owl fly. And I just love that moon behind him too. I just think that's so much fun. I did want to add a few more little stars to fill things in, so I'm using these stars from the Hearts and Stars Skinny Tag Die and some gold glitter cardstock. And I'm just adding 5 little stars around there. They're all the same size. I didn't even vary the sizes. And I'll just drop those into place with a little bit of liquid glue. And then here is that finished waving pull tab card with the tiny gift box owl add-on, and I just think that this turned out so cute. This would make a really cute wizard Harry Potter inspired card as well. So let's take a look at some examples from the design team. First up, Elena has this super cute owl tiny gift box, and I love all the little details and the cute rosy cheeks that she added. Mindy created a super cute holiday card with the little tiny gift box penguin. I love that circle frame with the little penguin fitting inside. And then here is a fun card by Grace where she used the owl. I love that it's peeking out from behind some of the book collection books. It's just so cute. And then this card by Grace is so much fun. She used the Build a Gumball machine to make a fish tank, and it is just so cute. I love this fall card by Maureen with those colorful leaves, and how cute is that little owl in blue? It's just adorable. Elena also created a really cute penguin gift box. I love those gel pen details and those rosy little cheeks. It's just so cute. And then here is another look at the 2 tiny gift boxes we made in today's video, that cute little penguin and that cute little owl. And then here is another look at the waving pull tab card that I created with the tiny gift box add-on. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.